Did you know there are vegetables that help control blood sugar levels? In this video, I'm going to tell you about the best vegetables and also the worst ones, the ones you need to pay more attention to. Does that mean they're off limits? That you'll never be able to eat these vegetables? No, that's not what it means. It just means you need to pay more attention and be more careful not to eat the same amount as you would with the best ones, for example, because these can actually raise your blood sugar levels more. So in this video, I've put together a list of 9 vegetables that are the best and 5 that you need to be more careful with, the ones on the worst list. What did I consider when making this list? Just to make it clear before we get into the video. The portion size will be the same, 100 grams for all of them. You ask about this a lot. You always want me to classify by unit. But you can't really compare a pea to a tomato or a cucumber, for example. There's just no way. So it has to be by weight, 100 grams for everyone. Also, the glycemic index. What is that? It's how much that food will raise your blood sugar. It's really important for diabetics to pay attention to the glycemic index because it will help you control your blood sugar levels better. Another factor here was the glycemic load. The name sounds strange, but the concept is actually pretty simple. Glycemic load is the amount of sugar, or carbohydrates, in each serving. Diabetics also, just like with the glycemic index, you need to pay attention to the amount of carbohydrates, because it's no use if a food has a low glycemic index but a high glycemic load. That will also affect your blood sugar levels. And another factor I mention here is the amount of fiber. A lot of people don't know this, but fiber is also a type of carbohydrate. It's just that your body doesn't absorb it. So you have to consider the ratio of carbohydrates to fiber. We call this net carbs, which is the total amount minus the fiber. That's the amount your body actually absorbs. So I'm going to include that as well. And another factor, no less important, is the amount of antioxidants. We know that antioxidants help with health, not just for diabetics, but also by preventing various complications. So, let's get to our list. Let's start with the best ones, and then I'll talk about the worst. Number 1 on the list of the best is eggplant. Eggplant has 6 grams of carbohydrates and 3 grams of fiber per 100 grams. In other words, you can eat eggplant without any worries, because eggplant won't significantly raise your blood sugar levels. It's a very safe vegetable for people with diabetes. First, because it has fiber, and fiber helps with your digestion and lowers the glycemic index of your meals. For example, if you're going to have a meal and eat eggplant beforehand, that whole meal will be positively impacted by the eggplant. So it's very important. And there are also many studies about eggplant and cholesterol. Eggplant can help improve your cholesterol. We know that people with diabetes need to pay extra attention to their cholesterol as well. What is the main cause of death among people with diabetes? Cardiovascular diseases. And bad cholesterol, LDL, when it's in excess, it's important to highlight here, excess cholesterol, because we need cholesterol to live. So it's not cholesterol itself that's bad. We need it for our cell membranes, for hormone production, vitamin D, testosterone, cortisol, for bile salts, for our digestion. So what's bad here is having too much cholesterol. If you eat eggplant, you're protecting yourself in this area too. Besides the benefits of fiber and nutrients, you also get an extra benefit when it comes to cholesterol. Eggplant is one of the best foods in the world. A lot of people ask about eggplant juice. Here, I'm talking about eating eggplant, okay? It's not about eggplant powder or eggplant capsules that many people talk about, nor eggplant juice, alright? So eating the actual food is always better, because that way you get more of the fiber benefits. Deal? Number 2 is carrots. Carrots, for every 100 grams, have 6 grams of carbohydrates and 2.9 grams of fiber, which is excellent for people with diabetes. A lot of people think that carrots aren't good for diabetics because they taste sweeter, but that's not true, okay? You can eat carrots, you can add them to your salad, or if you want, just have a snack with carrots. I really like them. A lot of times I take carrots to work. I think it's really interesting. It's a vegetable that has beta-carotene, which helps your health and is really good for your eyesight. People with diabetes also need to take care of their eyesight because of diabetic retinopathy. Are you familiar with? When blood sugar levels are high, sugar can harm our vision. It can damage your eyesight. So it's also important for you to pay attention to this. And by eating carrots, you're protecting yourself. So that's another added benefit. Here's a suggestion for you. Take carrots with you to eat as a snack. This will keep you from overeating, from consuming too many calories or foods that aren't so healthy. It will help you control your diabetes. And the third vegetable, which is also one of the best in the world, is broccoli. Broccoli has iron, calcium, and magnesium. Broccoli is excellent for bone health. It has antioxidants, vitamin A, and vitamin C. Broccoli also has fiber and several nutrients that help your health. Broccoli, per 100 grams, has 7 grams of carbohydrates and 3 grams of fiber. It's also excellent, and broccoli gives you a really interesting feeling of fullness because it also has volume, which will help you feel more satisfied and eat less. Broccoli is one of the best foods in the world. It's really worth including in your diet. A lot of people are going to ask if broccoli is bad for your thyroid. And the answer is no, you don't need to worry. Even if you already have a thyroid problem, broccoli still won't harm you, okay? There's no need to restrict your intake of cruciferous vegetables because of this. This is a myth that came from a study with rats, where the rats only ate broccoli. And these rats developed enlarged thyroids, which we call goiter, and also had hormonal problems. But in humans, that doesn't happen, okay? So it's not true that broccoli harms your thyroid. And yes, it's true that broccoli is one of the best vegetables and best foods, especially for people with diabetes who are trying to control their blood sugar levels. And number 4 is cauliflower. Cauliflower is also part of the cruciferous family. And for every 100 grams of cauliflower, we have 5 grams of carbohydrates and 2.5 grams of fiber. It's also excellent for people with diabetes. Do you prefer broccoli or cauliflower? I prefer broccoli, but cauliflower is also a good option. And vegetable number 5 is cucumber. Cucumber contains cucurbitin and also has a high water content, about 95%. So you also stay hydrated. We know that hydration is essential for people with diabetes to regulate blood sugar levels, but also to prevent you from feeling even hungrier, because many times our brain confuses the sensation of thirst with the sensation of hunger. Did you know that? So, by eating cucumber, you also get this benefit. And look how interesting. Every 100 grams of cucumber contains 2 grams of carbohydrates. That's right, only 2, and 1 gram of fiber. See, it's excellent. It won't raise your blood sugar levels. It has a very interesting amount of nutrients, like the cucurbitacin I mentioned, which can help your health. And number 6 is chayote. Chayote has 4 grams of carbohydrates and 2 grams of fiber per 100 grams. Do you like chayote? I love it. I eat it almost every day, and I add a little vinegar. It makes a great meal, and I'm sure it will help you control your blood sugar levels because you'll feel fuller, you'll get fiber, nutrients, enjoy several benefits, and you still won't be taking in excess calories, which we know people with diabetes also need to watch daily. All right? So eating chayote is good for your health, and if you have diabetes, then you really should take advantage of it. And the 7th vegetable is radish. Every 100 grams of radish contains 3 grams of carbohydrates and 1.5 grams of fiber. Radish also won't raise your blood sugar levels. If you have diabetes and you like it, it's a great option. Besides that, radishes also contain anthocyanin. Have you ever heard of anthocyanin? It's being heavily studied. It's really popular right now because of its benefits for blood pressure. So if you have diabetes, hypertension, or high blood pressure, radish is a good option. Look how interesting that is. Just look at how much you're learning in this video. And radish also has antioxidants. What do antioxidants do? They fight free radicals. A lot of diseases are caused this way. We know that a diet with antioxidant-rich foods can lower your chances of getting cancer, for example. So, did you like this tip? Then go ahead and hit the like button. Every person who likes it helps the system spread this content even more. And if you're not subscribed yet, I invite you to subscribe. You can see that here I talk a lot about diabetes, hormones, thyroid, cholesterol, and health tips. If you like these topics, I invite you to subscribe and keep following along. So let's continue our list with number 8, which is the tomato. Tomato, even though it's not technically a vegetable, depending on the classification, you might even find tomato listed as a fruit. But I included it on this list because tomato is excellent for people with diabetes. Tomato contains lycopene, which can protect the prostate. Did you know that? It also has vitamin C. Tomato is a food that can be considered anti-inflammatory because of its whole composition. And in every 100 grams of tomato, we have 3.5 grams of carbohydrates and 1.5 grams of fiber. Check out how interesting that composition is. And tomatoes are also low in calories. You can eat tomatoes without worrying about the amount of calories or whether your blood sugar levels will go up or not. I love tomatoes. I always eat them too. And it's a food that will help. If you're really hungry, eating tomatoes, for example, is a great strategy to help you feel fuller. Because since they have a large volume, you can eat a bigger amount, not gain weight, and it still won't impact your blood sugar levels. Look how interesting that is. And vegetable number 9, the last one on our list of the best, is arugula. Arugula, per 100 grams, has 3 grams of carbohydrates and 2 grams of fiber. Look at that. What a great composition for people with diabetes. But I want to highlight that arugula is also rich in magnesium and copper. There are many studies showing that people who consumed arugula and dark leafy greens had better insulin sensitivity. Their bodies worked better, not just because of the fiber, but also because of the overall composition. So, if you have diabetes, I suggest you add arugula to your diet. I ate arugula today. Can you see that my diet includes a lot of vegetables? Just now, I've already mentioned 3 that I've eaten recently. And now, which vegetables should you pay more attention to? I've picked out 5 here, and I want you to compare them so you can start learning about these foods. And the number 1 vegetable, which is going on the list of the worst, doesn't mean it's a forbidden vegetable, okay? Let's not misunderstand this video, but rather, you should just pay extra attention, and that's to beets. Every 100 grams of beets contains 12 grams of carbohydrates and 3 grams of fiber. Still, it's an interesting composition, but if you compare it to radishes, cucumbers, or even arugula, you'll notice the difference. Beets, although they raise blood sugar levels a bit more, also have some benefits, like increasing nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator. It can relax the arteries. So if you have high blood pressure, beets can also help you. But when it comes to blood sugar levels, since I have to classify it, it'll go on our second list. And number 2, and this one surprises a lot of people, is corn. Every 100 grams of corn contains 25 grams of carbohydrates. Just look at the difference. And 4 grams of fiber. So if you have high triglycerides or are watching your blood sugar levels, you need to be extra careful with corn. And number 3, and this one also surprises a lot of people, is peas. Every 100 grams of peas contains 15 grams of carbohydrates and 4 grams of fiber. A lot of people think peas are really good for those with diabetes, but in reality, you do need to be a bit careful. I always remember that I talked to a patient who was diabetic and couldn't manage his blood sugar levels, but he was eating a lot of peas. And he said to me, peas don't have any flavor, so they must be good for people with diabetes. That's how I end up seeing my diet. If it doesn't have any flavor, I eat a lot of it, and if it does have flavor, I don't eat it. Look at that. And I know a lot of people think this way. Just imagine the quality of life, right? Just imagine what that man's diet was like. And I started talking to him, and he really understood that it's not about the taste or flavor, but about the composition. So if you overdo it with peas, your blood sugar levels will go up. And number 4, and I'm sure you know this one because it's the most talked about, all the spotlight is on potatoes. And for every 100 grams, we have 18 grams of carbohydrates and 3 grams of fiber. So you'll notice that this ratio between carbohydrates and fiber ends up being a bit worse than the others I mentioned. That's why, since it has a higher amount of carbohydrates, you need to pay more attention to potatoes if you're diabetic. And number 5, and this vegetable is also going to surprise a lot of people, is yam. For every 100 grams of yam, we have 28 grams of carbohydrates and 4 grams of fiber. Yam is a vegetable that's been widely studied for its health benefits. It has several functions, but you need to know that if you're diabetic, it can raise your blood sugar levels more. How many of the vegetables on this list do you eat? You've already seen that I mentioned I eat several of them. I want to know about you. Which country are you from? Which part of the world are you watching this video from? I'm speaking from Porto Alegre. Here, my salad is lettuce, tomato, onion, and I really like cucumber too. Oh, cucumber can be pickles too, okay? If you like, pickles are an option too. It's a very tasty option. I like it. How about you? Now I'm going to leave a suggestion. It's a video where I talked about fruits. Did you know that just like vegetables, fruits also have the best and worst options for people with diabetes? Can you eat fruit? In this video here, I talk more about that, and I suggest you watch it now. Take care. See you next time.